Welcome back, everyone, to the next week of A Conversation with Kely. As always, we are talking the week that was in Big Brother 23. I am, of course, here with Ali. How are you doing today?
I'm good. My day is pretty chill, but it's nice. Obviously, I have a day off, so it's been a good day.
We do like a nice chill day, a good day for a podcast, a good day for a podcast. You can just chill and talk about the week, but we are not alone. As always, we do have a guest with us, and it's someone that I've been trying to get on here for a little bit now. He has expressed to me how much he's been, wanting to talk about this season, and we're very happy to have him on, who also did another draft with his friends, so maybe we can talk about that as well. Here he is, Jacob Adorno. What's up, man?
I'm honored. I'm just so taken aback. I really just, it took so much to be able to get this organized and coordinate this, because I've been meaning to hop on this podcast for a while now. I'm thinking maybe week 4, week 5. I'm like, oh, I talk about BB23 coverage. Like, I knew that you were viewing a lot of movies, but I didn't know about BB23 coverage. So, and I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk about this draft and the week that was, because this was a pretty cataclysmic one for my friend. So
yeah, it was a pretty tragic week for sure. Also, shout out to Steve Harvey because he asked for it. Also, yes, Sean, we very much despise you, even though you were literally just on our last episode. Anyway, before we talk about this week in general, Jacob, general thoughts on like this season, all that kind of stuff. What have you been thinking?
Best season post, I'll say, I'm trying to think about the last really good season that we had was maybe
17
13
for me.
I see 17 as a pretty solid season.
Also, OTT.
I haven't watched OTT.
Oh yeah,
that's probably why.
It's really good. So, 18 as well, in a way.
No.
It was not that bad.
I was really upset by the outcome, which
puts
a stink on the season for me personally. So, best season since 17. I really love this cast. It's very game-savvy cast. A very passive group in that I think a lot more people this coming week, with the person who ends up getting evicted, I think they wanted to keep this particular individual around more. It benefited them the most, but somebody in particular who when we talk about the draft, I'm going to talk about this person in depth, because this was my winner pick preseason. They were a big proponent. We got to send this person home. That's what's best for our group. It's what's best for the cookout. And so it sort of just came into fruition at that. I think this was the last person I felt that stood a chance as a blockade for the cookout to be able to dominate, I think so too, in the game. And now this sort of it's sort of setting up, especially like what this week is right now and how everything is going.
Right.
The likelihood of a cookout member, only cookout members being on the block, it's very likely at this point, and yet we're still at a point where there's people outside of that group being targeted. But this is a tragic week all around altogether. This is the first week where I was really dismayed by the outcome. Even though this person was not on my draft, I was probably rooting for him more than the people on some of my drafts. So some of the people on my drafts.
I think most of us were, honestly. Which I mean, let's talk about the draft. Like, who did you have? Who have you drafted? All that. Like, who do you have right now?
So the two people I've in reference as friends, I know for a fact Seb Cordero has been on a conversation with Kely before, at least for the art poll, so he was on it. I don't know about Jackson Lamar. Was he on it?
He's been on in terms of us watching music videos that he's been in.
Wow.
Okay, so
he's never been a guest yet, though.
We'll have to get him on soon.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's made some cameos. Jackson.
I mean, we watched I Think We're Alone now, so in a way, like, he's been on.
So he exists. He's canonical in the conversation with Kely universe.
Yes.
My draft. The way that we're doing it is a metric based off the competitions that you win. We're negating points for being an initial renom or evicted. And so the way that that's going right now is, Jackson and Seb are still playing catch up with like the season going on. So I'm not going to give away the point totals yet, but I will give you my draft and you can make of this information as you will. Kyland, Xavier, Tiffany, Hannah, Christian. That's my draft right there.
That's pretty solid, I would say.
I mean, and Christian,
my winner pick.
That's a good draft. Like Christian's definitely actually pretty likable, but the rest of them are like amazing.
And Christian was also the last pre-juror, so like you honestly like are kind of killing it in terms of like your chances to like do well.
Especially since I'm the only one of the three people who picked multiple people from the cookout. It just worked out to be that way. The person I mentioned earlier, Xavier, was my winner pick. It was a snake draft.
Right.
They sniped the Derricks away from me, which is fine. I ended up I think I laughed at the end of the day, I felt. Scoring Xavier and Kyland, but back-to-back too. And Tiffany.
Yeah.
That was a steal. That was a snag. But we'll get into this week because I mentioned that one of our winner picks has been sent home. Jackson's winner pick. But hopefully he's not watching this and he's slowly leaning back into his chair right now in depression because the odds aren't looking good for him.
No, definitely not. I will say, if you guys want to hear some progress on our draft, Allie is currently fucking killing it right now. She's probably going to win because she had all jury in there.
I mean, it also depends, though. Like, they're all, like, in a map position, but
That's true.
See.
That's true. I do think some of your people might be going back to back. One of them may be going very soon. Spoilers. But then
the only way they'd be safe is if they like win Veto or HOH.
Yeah, exactly. And then me, besides Frenchie, I'm kind of killing it. I still have Azah, Kyland, and Tiffany. So yeah, I mean, I'm not in the worst position either draft-wise. But anyway, enough about the draft. Let's get into this week overall because there's a lot to talk about for this week. Of course, this was Sarah Beth's HOH, and she's very excited that she's won it, and she feels this is really going to change up her game. Oh, if only she knew the type of week she was about to have. DF, we see, is very happy to still be in the house and also got a kiss from Kyland. However, he's very annoyed that SB won. Once again, I talk about this every single week. I'm a little fucking tired of every single week Derek F being like, girls gotta go. A girl's gotta go. They're gonna dominate the house. We gotta keep the men together. The women are gonna dominate. Like, dude, this is not a narrative. This is what's going on right now. It's literally that the women are just playing better. That's what's happening.
And also, DF just has a big crush on Kyland.
Yeah, which is it's interesting. It's very interesting how he likes men that like to control people. But anyway, we see Hannah also feels really bad with SB winning, thinking that she's probably going to be targeted, obviously, because she was gunning so hard for Hannah in previous weeks. You know, she's pretty sure that she's probably going to get targeted here. And we see Awasum, meanwhile, is very devastated that Brittany is gone and was really hoping that this could have been final two. I will say, though, and people have brought this up, I think now that Brittany's gone, Azah's like really getting to play the game now because we've talked about this before, Allie, but like the thing that was holding her back, I think, was her like emotional attachment to people, specifically Brittany. Brittany was someone that she just always felt bad for. She always like, took pity on. And I think now that she's gone, I think Oz is really going to start like playing a more cutthroat game. And I'm really kind of here for it because I've always seen potential for her as a player.
She's definitely opening up more as a player.
Yeah, I was impressed by the way she handled herself this week, I think. But Tiffany and Azah both agree that they could have avoided this from happening. Once again, if Kyland had stuck with the plan, this would not be happening. And Tiffany also hates that SB is one, considering that she's probably going to go on the block. And that's kind of what I thought SB was going to do. Like, I thought SB was going to go Claire and Tiffany because she knew that Tiffany was gunning so hard for her. And I mean, it really, I think, kind of speaks to how good Tiffany is playing that like she doesn't end up on the block here at all. But
I do wish like the trio of Claire, Tiffany, and Sarah Beth would have dominated.
Yeah.
Like they were so close at the beginning.
Yeah, if the cookout isn't a thing, I think that they could have maybe like been a trio of sorts. Yeah. But I think because of the cookout, I think that just kind of like, got in the, and especially her connection to Kyland and the fact that Tiffany had to stay close to Kyland. I think it just sort of like
Actually,
overcomplicated things.
Technically, though, like most of the cookout have someone that outside of the alliance that they're close.
Yeah, they do. They do. I think the difference is just that Kyland and Sarah Beth are very close. Tiffany needs to keep Kyland, you know, on her good side. And so she can't really, you know, and Sarah Beth is kind of like getting in the way of that. So I think that's kind of like what's going on there. But basically, we see DX is very certain that SB is probably going to put him up since he did the same thing to her, but he's hoping that Kyland could potentially help him survive here. And meanwhile, DF is talking with Xavier and Kyland, once again, hoping that he isn't a pawn. I want to remind you, though, Derek F., you volunteered to be a pawn last week, so I don't know why he's, like, worried that it's going to happen, because he literally asked for it. Like, he literally asked to be nominated. Like, what are they gonna do? Like, not nominate you? Like, I just don't really understand his logic here. I've never understood his logic the whole season, and they're assuring him that he's not going to be the target no matter what this week. Obviously not. He's not a threat at this point. Alyssa's also feeling like she's probably going to be put up here. Like, she thinks that she's definitely going up, which, let's talk about this. I mean, Alyssa is in a very interesting position right now.
I mean, with Alyssa, like, she's really only, like, working with Xavier since Christian left, so her social game is not very strong.
No, I wouldn't really say so either. I think she just kind of keeps getting lucky to where, like, there have been opportunities for people to nominate her, but they just don't want to. And I think she's going to go, like, soon, but I don't think she's going yet. So I think that's something that Alyssa's doing well, but I don't think it's particularly anything that she's doing. I think it's more just like people don't want to nominate her for some reason. So DF talks to Tiffany. He's hoping that they can smooth things over, and she brings up him storming into the HOH to bodyguard Britini. He said that she was being very demanding, and she doesn't understand why he didn't just, like, call her out on it, and it doesn't seem like that relationship is getting any stronger. And I know that a lot of casual viewers are saying that they're portraying Tiffany in this way where, you know, they're trying to still have that stereotype of, like, the aggressive black woman and things like that. And I don't really see it that way. And maybe it's just because I don't like Derek F. But I still see Tiffany as very much the hero here. And I think that she absolutely was in the right to be upset with him about this, because he literally didn't apologize for it.
Honestly, the one who...
What's your perspective on the friction with, like, Derek F. and Tiffany? How do you feel about that?
To be honest, like, there's a lot of estranged relationships in the cookout, and you know, I think one of my biggest concerns about, like, this relationship and how it's going to affect the game moving forward is that, like, in my opinion, we're at a point where, like I think, like, very similarly, it's like last season, like, the committee wasn't real. A lot of people sort of took this as a joke. There was a lot of friction with Memphis and a lot of the members on there, but because they kept winning the competitions necessary to keep them in power, and then they did the same thing, and they kept them in power, they sort of felt like, I guess we could just hitch onto this committee wagon right here because it's going to get us further on in the game. I feel like it's the same way with some of these cookout members. You know, my winner pick in particular, I think he's really dependent on, and we'll get into the round earlier, and how he's one of the biggest proponents campaigning and advocating for this person to go home before he gets, spoiler alerts, locked up and punished in solitary confinement. He needs this group to stick together. Like, he's this... And as great as I think of a game that he's playing, and as great of a position I think he's going to be within the cookout right now, that relationship is going to be the hardest too. Because, like, now, like you said earlier, like, Britini going home, and I was hoping Alyssa was going to be the same way after Christian went, but Oz is playing a bit more independently. She is not being burdened by having to keep Britini around. And, like, again, like you said, like, Derek F. volunteered because he said he was tired of the emotional baggage that came with sort of handling and sort of micromanaging Britini's emotions throughout the week if you were suggested up as a pawn. So I think Azah's and Tiffany's relationship will mend to some extent now that she no longer has that person that... Because I think that was a huge bunch of friction. I just rewatched week 5 where I believe Tiffany wanted to talk to Britini and Christian called her to talk to her, and then Big D and Azah went with her as, like, her security guards, as, like, her bodyguards. I was like, oh, she could talk to us too. I don't know why she got to pull Britini off to the side. Azah's not going to do that anymore now because she no longer has that figure. And granted, you know, like you mentioned earlier, again, those other relationships that they have outside the cookout. Claire to Tiffany, Derek X to Hannah, Alyssa to Xavier, which used to be Christian. Derek F never really had that figure. and I guess hopefully it would be the same way, but I don't see Big D changing, or because there was nothing that I think that you could be stripped from him, whether it be an ally or an asset in the game that could have took him into overdrive to feel like I need to change the game up. I need to change the way that I'm playing this game, because right now at this rate, it's also just like, I think on live feed, Azah was like, I just realized I'm a floater. Like, Azah going into this week and leaving out of it is one of only 4 at the top of the week, but leaving it only 2 people who have yet to be nommed yet. And I think the only one who's never really been in contention. But Big D, I don't think he's doing anything well enough to garner respect from people on the jury. I think Tiffany's going to have to. I'm a bit worried because something just tells me Big D, I won't necessarily win that war, that rivalry, if the cookout continues to dominate. But I feel like a lot of people in the cookout and even outside of it are like, Big D's might ticket to the $750,000, because who's playing a more passive game or a less respectable game of those 6 than Big D? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do think that there are many scenarios in which people just end up, like, I think if Kyland or Xavier especially is, like, really close to the end, I absolutely see them, like, dragging Derek F to the end just because, like, they know they're going to win against him. Personally, I just want to see him go first.
Derek F is literally just all talk, like, and he can also be very rude.
No, literally, like, he won't win a comp. And like he says that, like, oh well, I threw that comp. No, you're just bad at comps. Like, that's literally what it is. He throws comps. He throwing comps. He's just not good at comps. He has horrible reads on things. He's not really working with the people that he needs to work with. So yeah, I think he's pissing people off that are, like, in his alliance, and is also, like, I'm pretty sure, like, called them out for things, like, behind their back. So he's really just in a bad spot right now. And I think literally the only thing that's saving him is the cushioning of the cookout. That's literally it. Like, if he wasn't in the cookout, I think he would have been out the door by now. But also, hi, Jesse. We do want to give a shout out to Jesse and Marcelo as well. We love Marcelo.
Love you,
Marcelo. Adore Marcelo. Marcelo's
yes, we do.
One thing,
definitely. All right. What were you going to say?
I'm sorry. I was going to say just one thing that I was going to mention was, like, everything going about with the cookout and how they're dominating. I remember one thing he said, like, all the girls need to pick it up. They need to start winning some comps. Like, we're carrying them at this point. Like, they got to start pulling their weight. And I'm like, huh? Where is this coming from? And it sucks because, like,
and now he wants them to win nothing. Like,
I was so big on him preseason, and, like, hell, like, during that job I mentioned earlier, I think he was second pick overall. So I picked him. That was his winner pick. We were huge on Derek. He's gonna be lovable. Everyone's gonna get along with him. He seems like
Jen's winner pick too, I think.
Energetic guy. Like, this is somebody who's going to thrive in this game, because I feel as though he's going to be this, not necessarily a carefree spirit, but that's the exterior that he's going to give off to people. He's going to be someone who's very warm and welcoming and enticing to just talk to him. You could just share a laugh with him, you know? He seemed like this very fun, loving guy, but then, like, and I saw hints of this when he threw that hinky vote week 1 to evict Alyssa. And I'm like, he's trying to, and Tiffany explains this very well. I want to show Frenchie that I could trust him. I want him to believe that I'm manipulative. I can be influenced. My decision, my voice is his to control, and knowing that he's going to spread this out through the house because he will not keep a secret to save his life. That is going to be my incentive to target him. But the Derek F is like, I'm just doing it for fun. That should have been the sign where I'm like, he's not long term, or like not long term for this game, because obviously he was past week 1, and he's, because of the system of the cookout, he's able to get as far as he has thus far, and very likely even much further in the game. But he's not built with the attributes I think that requires for him to win this game. Because I think now, like, there's people outside of the cookout who I thought that if, like, they make it to the end. Particularly the person that got evicted this week, and another key figure in this round as well, I think would have better shots at winning and have better game sense. I call it even the HOH to some extent. I think has better shots of garnering the respect of the jury at the end than the Derek F. So there's been a lot of frustration.
I think most people do, honestly, because like that's the other thing. Like he's not taking into account is like jury management. Like he has none. He's just like basically just whatever he thinks, he just kind of says, and it's gonna fuck him over at the end. But who knows if he's even gonna get there? But Allie, go ahead.
Yeah. All right. SB and Kyland talk, and she says she doesn't know if she trusts DX or Alyssa more, but feels good with Tiffany and Claire since they actually listen to her, but others don't. She always felt she was at the bottom with the King's Alliance, and being on the block with Christian certainly didn't help. And she also hopes that the chopping block roulette can be used this week.
Yeah, I mean, I think this pretty much shows like her HOH. It's very much just Kyland's HOH again. Like it's not really her HOH. She basically everything that she says is what Kyland also thinks, and it's honestly kind of impressive how much he's like completely wrapped her around his finger at this point. But it's also disappointing because I feel like SB was like, you know, this amazing villain at first, and she was really just like doing all these like crazy things. Like she's like, oh, I'm playing an individual game, but she doesn't show that this week at all. It feels like she's playing Kyland's game, and I think she really fucked herself over.
And she wanted to like flip on her team and everything, which she should have.
Yeah, I was very, very disappointed by her HOH this week.
Yeah. She talks several house guys into playing it, but many of them don't seem to be down. DX talks to Claire, and it seems like they are close to clocking the members of the cookout. They are both worried Tiffany is close with Xavier. SB feels that.
And this really shows how like DX and Claire really are the only ones left that could legitimately be like opposition for the cookout. But because of how well like Tiffany set herself up, you know, they're not going to target them.
Yeah. Also, yeah, Claire's gameplay has been kind of disappointing too.
Yeah. Very much a follower. Very much a follower.
We'll get to Claire.
Like, I had so much potential for her preseason.
Yeah.
I still love her though. It's just like her gameplay is not strong.
Oh yeah, she's really fun in like DRs and things like that, but like gameplay wise, not doing it.
Yeah.
We do have this though. Okay, I said we do have this though. Remember when Tommy was telling Christy that like you always have a home with me, and then she was crying while she was in the shower and the subtitle. That's basically what happens this week, and she gave us that. I thank her for that. She at least gave us that. She has some game sets. As far as like game sets, I've just been really disappointed with Claire and the trajectory she's taken in this game so far. And I don't know if I'll be on the podcast for coverage for this upcoming week, but for some so close. It's like right there. Like I really just wish that she was able to execute on the move that was in her best interest. Like she needs to start bidding or start shipping at that alliance if she really wants to be able to perform well. Because like, and although I don't necessarily agree with Tiffany's sentiment, but like I kind of want to get rid of Claire soon. I don't think that's good for her game. I think there's some people in the cookout that I'd rather, if I'm Tiffany, I'd take them out first as opposed to, you know.
Oh yeah, I agree.
The person.
I mean, Tiffany. I mean, this round Tiffany's ready to drop her.
Yeah, she is, which we'll talk about.
She's like, nope, she's not good for my game anymore. SB feels that one of Alyssa, Xavier, or DX need to go this week, and Kyland tries to reassure her that he won't be coming after her and will continue to be loyal. Even though Kyland claims he won't control her too much, it certainly seems like he does, since SB nominates the same people he did, DF.
Literally the same people, which was so funny. Like, and I didn't realize it at first. I didn't. Like, I saw this.
I mean, they're fine, I guess, as pawns. I just wish she had like a different backdoor plan.
I wanted to see her do literally anything else.
Like something that was like I wish she backdoor maybe someone else that was actually better for her game.
No, this was like literally her chance to like prove that she's playing her own game, that she's not just doing Kyland's bidding, and instead she just puts up the exact same people that he did. It's like, not really a great start doing that. But again, just very, very disappointing.
Yeah. DF still has no plans to play roulette and lets someone else force his hand. Claire and Tiffany talk things over, and she feels she'll be safe this week, but is hoping to not lose her early. And Hannah and DX talk, and she's doing what she can to get him to not play in roulette in order to keep the cookout safe. It seems that he doesn't want to do it so he can play the power next week.
This was This was a really crazy move from Hannah. Like, I was legitimately shocked that like she was able to actually convince him not to do it, because like in any scenario, like you should play this. Absolutely. Especially if when SB is HOH, someone that he nominated and knows that is probably going to target him. He absolutely should play this. He should want to play this, and yet he doesn't. And again, I really do give the credit to Hannah there for making that happen, regardless if she regrets it or not later in the week. Like, really strong move from her.
Yeah. It was honestly a great move from her.
Yeah.
And we then see what every house guest has gotten in terms of BB bucks, which Kevin is going to talk about.
Yeah, so once again, I'm going to try to go through this as quickly as possible, like we did last time, just because there's a lot here. But Claire receives $100, but doesn't have enough money to play in the roulette, so she doesn't. Azah receives 50, doesn't have enough to play in roulette. Hannah receives 75 and can play it in roulette, but she does decide to bank it. She doesn't want to have to, go for it. She wants to wait until the coin of destiny. Xavier receives 75, decides to bank it. SB receives 50, can't play in roulette. Tiffany receives 50, can't play in roulette. Kyland receives 50, doesn't have enough to play in roulette. DF receives 100 and for some reason still doesn't play. I don't understand why. He has plenty of money at this point, yet he doesn't want to fucking play it. And then DX is in a really interesting position here because he talks to Kyland about what to do, and Kyland's trying to talk him out of doing it. He actually wants him to go for it since it would be worst case scenario for him to take down Claire. He receives 100. He can play in roulette, but ultimately he does bank his money. Meanwhile, we have Alyssa, who receives 75, decides to play in roulette as she's unsure she'll be able to play in the next one. And then if you're keeping up, Alyssa's the only person to play in roulette and basically wins by default, which such an interesting turn of events here. Like, I would not have expected for Alyssa to be the only one to play in this, but she won a comp. There, she won a comp, finally.
Yeah, she won a comp.
She did win a comp. I didn't know if she was going to do it. Yeah, she did. She did do that. However, was it even worth it? Because she wins, takes Derek F down, which I was like,
yeah, why would she? Honestly, like, that's a really weird move.
She needs her big blue couch co-host.
I guess, yeah.
I guess she does have. She has Xavier, and she has that's it. And then,
yeah, she she needed to keep him on her good side, and the spin happens, and the replacement nominee is Xavier, which is her only ally in the house right now. So essentially, Alyssa just played in a comp. Let me just make sure y'all are keeping up with this. Alyssa just played in a comp, was the only one to play in said comp, won the comp by default, took someone down that wasn't beneficial for her game, and then the person that was most beneficial for her game went up as a renomination.
Okay, when I read this tweet, I was laughing.
Same. I thought it was like one of those parody accounts. I was like, no, there's no way. There's no way this actually happened.
It's really funny.
Yeah. So not a great move. Not a great move from Alyssa.
I mean, yeah, I don't think she's an okay player, but she's definitely not the best in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I get why she wanted to play this because she felt that she wouldn't have enough money for the coin, but she could have just not used it. Like, honestly, she should have just not used it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm still just nodding my head.
But yeah, that's everything that happens on Sunday. What were you going to say, Jacob?
I'm just still nodding my head in disbelief. Like, this really actually. What are the odds of this happening? I saw who won it by default, and I'm like, there's no way. Go Kyland.
Yeah.
Because so many people are like, what if Kyland goes on Sarah Beth's HOH? Wouldn't that?
Yeah, no, I remember people saying that, and I was like, shit, that could happen.
That could actually happen, and then I heard that she won. I'm like, okay, so literally the only person not from the cookout that could possibly go up now is Derek X. These are really good odds. Derek X is gonna play in the veto. He's gonna take Claire down. We're gonna have some cannibalism between the people that cookout. Finally, an exciting week in the house, please. And I love this season thus far. I love the gameplay. I love this cast. I love the new casting mandate, especially as a Hispanic, as a person of color. I'm a big proponent of it. Granted, I only have one rep, and that is, unfortunately, Alyssa this season. We're achieving for next season. We're striving for next season. We'll get some more Hispanic. But I'm praying, even with my draft, like, I have a Hannah, Tiffany, Kyland, Xavier on it. Like, obviously, this ends up being a good week for all of them all together. I get some deducted points from Xavier being renommed by the roulette. But if I have to trade, I don't care if I win this. I want to enjoy this season. That will make me the winner. If I enjoy this season, if I get some excitement out of this and some back and forth, even if not intentional, if Sarah Beth leaves this week and accidentally does something that's good for her game, and then she takes down Erica and opens the door, it basically just guarantees that someone from the cookout's no one's gonna go home from the cookout. And this sets up the stage for what her plan is to backdoor Derek X. And a lot of the live news actually covered the fact that Hannah was trying to tell Alyssa she doesn't trust SB. Trying to maybe call her out, start a fight, do anything to instigate, to antagonize her, to pester her in the upcoming weeks, in the upcoming days, so that she can be put up against Claire as the renom. Because and I guess that now I'm at this point of saying Xavier ends up winning this veto, and with it comes a punishment, not only to solitary confinement, but also in the next week he's eligible to be nominated. He will go up as a third nominee. And I guess that since I'm sort of almost taken over and I facilitated this part of the conversation with Kely, I just want to get you guys have the opportunity to talk about the veto competition, the events of the upcoming episode.
Yes, let's get into Wednesday's events, which Allie's going to talk about.
All right. Alyssa feels really bad that Xavier is on the block, especially with him being her closest ally at this point, and she's going to feel heartbroken. She's going to feel heartbroken if he goes home this week. Yeah, you should not have used that power on Derek. Xavier also is a bit annoyed about this, since he was hoping he could position himself to where he wouldn't be nominated the entire season.
Which, I'm not going to lie, I thought he was going to pull off. Like, I thought we were going to get to a point where Xavier was never nominated. I thought, like, obviously Derek F. I thought, like, maybe Azah would be nominated before him. I did not think he would be nominated, but here he is.
DX is glad to see he isn't the one randomly selected to go up this week. Claire talks to Sarah Beth and tells her how much it sucks that Xavier is up in reality. She wants to tell Claire she isn't her target, but has to avoid that because DX is in fact one of her closest allies. And Claire is able to clock this on her own.
Right. Again, such a funny conversation here because, like, SB is like, oh, Claire has no idea what I'm doing. But, like, Claire's a very smart girl. Like, Claire's going to be able, like, I think Claire has the foresight to understand that SB is not with DX right now and that SB wants to put up DX. And so it was really funny to me how SB's like, oh, well, you see, I want to tell Claire that she's not the target, but then that's going to insinuate that DX is going up. And it's like, she literally already knows that.
She goes to DX and tells him about her theory, and he feels he is in fact the target this week. Tiffany joins them, and DX says the mission is not to antagonize SB, but he is very concerned about the veto. They do feel they are in fact being targeted this week, and one of them needs to win veto.
Yeah.
SB lets Alyssa in on her plan to put DX up, which she also wanted to do since the Christian backdoor. I mean, that's definitely like a good move for Alyssa.
Yeah, no, if this was Alyssa's HOH, like this is absolutely like the right move that she should do. I just don't think it makes sense for SB to be doing this.
Yeah. SB is hoping DX isn't picked to play in the veto comp, and which will ensure him going this week. And DX goes to SB and she doesn't give him the information he wants to hear with any of his questions and says that she has options with the veto.
And I think this is really like something that was frustrating about SB's HOH is that she's so cagey about everything this week, but it's like, it's so obvious what she's doing. There wasn't a reason for her to be so quiet. And Devin, I will agree with you, aside from this week, she was very much not a queen this week. She was kind of a flop.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the way that she was going about this, just being like, oh, well, I have other options. I have options that I can do. It's like, just fucking say what you're going to do. Like, it's just rip the Band-Aid off. It was really frustrating me.
Hannah feels really bad for getting DX to not play in roulette and is hoping one of them can win veto this week and she can protect him.
And I loved seeing how bad Hannah really felt about this and how, like, she felt she needed to, like, repay DX. Like you were saying, Jacob, like, she very much wants to repay him for, like, what ended up happening, the fact that she got him to not play in the roulette. I thought this was really good from Hannah, but I do think that similar to Britini being gone to refocus Azah, I think DX being gone does kind of refocus Hannah a bit, but we'll get into that obviously. So the veto drawing happens, and Azah, Alyssa, and DF are chosen to compete, in addition to Claire, Xavier, and SB. And we get this scene.
Also, one thing, Alyssa gets picked for veto a lot.
She does. She really does.
Duel of the season, Alyssa in the veto wheel.
She's probably tired.
Yeah, no, literally. It's just going to be her face. Like, the veto, it's going to be the power of Alyssa. It's not going to be the power of veto. But we see Claire and DX are very upset about these picks, considering what this will mean for the both of them if someone that isn't Claire wins. And I did feel bad for them here. I really did. They formed a very, like, genuine friendship, and you can see like how bad Claire really does feel that she's going to have to campaign against DX. Again, it stems back to what we said last week. It's just the way they're playing now. They should have been playing like that throughout the entire season, and they just haven't been. And I think that's the real issue here. But it's time for the veto. The comp is a dominoes one in which the players have to stick like a certain amount of dominoes and knock down either the red, which are punishments, which are crucial to obtaining the veto, and green ones, which are advantages. So with a competition that's literally stacked against all these players, Xavier does win this, but he has quite a few extreme punishments in order to do so. And this was like insane to me. Like, this was like Chicken George level bad punishments, where basically he loses all of his BB bucks. They're just gone. He can't use them anymore. He has to be in solitary confinement for the rest of the week. When was the last time we saw that? Like, fucking Big Brother 14 with Dan. Yeah, no, literally, I haven't seen that in like so long. I was like, holy shit, solitary confinement. And then to top it all off, he will have to sit on the block as a third nominee whenever he doesn't win HOH. Whatever the next time he doesn't win HOHs, he's automatically up as a third nominee. So Xavier really got fucked over this week. Like, between his closest ally accidentally putting him up as a third nominee, and now him getting all these like disadvantages to where he literally can't control the vote. He might go up again next week. Like, goddamn, he really went through it this week.
I know.
But in the midst of all of this, DF just won a bunch of prizes. He didn't even try to win this veto. He just went right for the prizes. And I love the way this was edited, where it's like they knew that it was him that ended up winning this. And they were like, typical Derek F. And again, it just shows like how little Derek F. is trying in these comps. So he cannot say like, I'm intentionally throwing these comps. No, you're just bad. And like, you're throwing them because you're not going to perform well either way. So like, it's just, it's so dumb. It's so dumb that he just went for the prizes.
Oh, dear.
Classic TF.
Yeah.
No, I think it's really. I was really hoping, really, that with him being in solitary confinement, because he is dare I say, I think the only one really endorsing, a cookout final six. A lot of the people like in the DS, like, I gotta do what's best for the cookout. But I think that some of those relationships outside of like the cookout,
he's definitely the one that's tried to like maintain that foundation as much as everyone. I will agree with you on that.
And so once he got locked up in solitary confinement, I'm hoping for two things. One, for this house to be flipped upside down, some drama, something to go awry, because Xavier's been a very calming force. Like, I feel like he's been like the Tyshawn in a group full of Jetsons.
I definitely see him as the Ty.
Jetson's like, we should do this, we should do this, we should do this. Like, Ty's like, no, stick to the plan. This is our objective for the top of the week. Let's at least do this. This is why I like Ty. This is why I picked Ty as my winner pick, and that's why I picked Xavier as mine this season. I'm hoping for that. Oh, we had Dan's funeral. We're gonna get Xavier's vigil. We're gonna get Xavier doing some mastermind stuff, convincing somebody to stay that's completely against everybody's best interest. He somehow saves himself, finesses the situation, which we get neither of those. So
we'll talk about what it amounts to, but solitary confinement overall, not a lot going on there. We'll get into it though.
All right. Claire's crying about not winning the veto and feels she let DX down. He also feels like he should have played the roulette wheel, but knows he can't beat himself up about it.
And again, I did really feel bad for both of them here. And I like that DX owns like, I should have played in roulette. And it makes you feel that much worse for him, because it's like, it's like woulda, shoulda, coulda. You know, we've all had those moments, us alone, like when we played orgs. Like, I'm sure we've had those moments where it's like, I should have done this, I should have done this. And now it's like, can't go back on it. And he's kind of like realizing that. So I really kind of like felt for DX here, because I've been in his like shoes before.
Tiffany goes to Claire and tries to calm her down and not let this get to her. She wants to try and do what she can to not get him off the block. The house guests are given a package from the American Red Cross, which actually this segment was really sweet and like wholesome.
Yeah.
And they each get together to build a first aid kit, and they all enjoy taking time away from strategizing and instead focus on helping others, which was just a really nice moment.
I liked this. Yeah, it was a good way to like, decompress from everything and just see everyone like, fighting for a very important cause. I really enjoy getting to see stuff like that. I wish Big Brother would do that more often, just because
those are the like segments we actually like need, not just like random filler.
Yeah.
Like filler is them just randomly playing, like making a house meeting and just playing a game.
Yeah. Like they did a week ago.
Apparently they played a lot of Mafia in the house. Like, why would you want to play?
They have. No, this is a very like game heavy house. Like they are very much just like, this is the kind of group that's going to play Werewolf like every single night. This is the kind of group that plays like fucking Secret Hitler like every single night. Like,
why do I feel like we should... Oh my God, what if we actually got them on our podcast after?
Oh my God!
We got to play Werewolf with them. Like, why would you want to?
Yeah, we're gonna play Werewolf. They're gonna
play Among Us.
Yeah.
And Big Brother, like, and tell people that you're good at lying. I don't know about that. But, compare this segment this season to like a filler from like past seasons. Like Big Brother 22, it was horrendous. It was a slog to get through because we know how the game was panning out.
I did not
imagine actually watching BB22 after Janelle left. I can't relate.
I didn't watch that. I stopped watching that, except I did watch the finale, but that was the only episode I actually watched after.
I tuned in for the triple, and like they revealed what happened. I was like, no, not doing this.
They really skipped over the best week, I think, of the season. Like we really were. And no, this has nothing to do with 23. But Danny being on the block for a whole week, finding out Cody's not keeping her, figuring out she's at the bottom of the group, we were robbed of her begging and pleading
we really were.
to stay in the house. Yeah. We missed that.
But
good on Allie for watching that finale. The one highlight of I love you too, Seb. The one good thing about BB22 was Cody not pulling a Cody and taking Nicole to the end and taking Enzo. That was the one time this season.
That was definitely the best part, I would say. Yeah, definitely the best part for sure. And we will say, I do think that a triple is coming up in a couple weeks, and I just hope that it's much better than the disaster we got last year.
That'll be insane.
Yeah.
All right. Tiffany pitches to DX that he should try to pitch to SB to put Hannah on the block and is the best solution in order for him to stay. She apparently has pitched herself to go up as well, and Tiffany is willing to sacrifice losing Claire in order to keep him.
See, I didn't like the way this was edited. It felt more like, Hannah not volunteering herself to go up, and more like DX was trying to like convince SB to like turn on his own ally, which he would not have done if he didn't know that Hannah had already like been pitching to do it. I think they should have shown Hannah wanting to do this rather than like Tiffany pitching to DX and then him maybe going along with it. I think they just should have edited it a lot differently, because this really was Hannah's doing. Like, she was the one who was like, I fucked him over. I didn't let him play roulette. I'm going to go up on the block and ensure that, like, neither of us go.
Yeah, I agree.
So
he pitches to SB that he won't go after her for 2 to 3 weeks, and SB tells him she has a hard time trusting other people. He says if Hannah were to hit the block, she would be doing him a huge favor, and Kyland and SB would become his closest allies if Hannah were to leave. SB feels that Hannah is in fact a dark horse and has been throwing comps and seems to be willing to make this move.
And I do think that this was a good pitch. Obviously, it's not a real pitch because he's not actually, Hannah's not going. But I don't think it was pitch from him at all. And what I also liked is that for the first time in like 2 weeks, we actually get to see the fucking veto ceremony in a Wednesday episode. Yes. We don't wait until the next episode.
Finally. At the veto ceremony, Xavier does use the veto on himself, obviously, and sadly, SB sticks with her plan and puts up the X.
Which pretty much robs her of any agency left in the game. I mean, this was pretty much the nail in the coffin, where it's like,
And then the cookout proceeded to be the final 6.
No, exactly. Like, this is pretty much what sealed the deal. Like, this is what did it. It was SB making this move because, like you guys said before, like, I do think DX was legitimately the only real threat to the cookout in terms of, like, if the cookout didn't get there, I think it could have been because of DX. I think he was a really strong player. And we also have to remember, like, something that's really impressive about DX is that he came into this house not knowing anything about Big Brother. He was a recruit. And the fact that he's, like, caught on for so long, like, he caught on, like, very quickly. And now is, like, really just, like, strategizing hard. And he's become, like, one of the top contenders to, like, really win the game. I think is really impressive. It just sucks that, like, he pretty much, his fate was sealed here.
At least he's going to win America's favorite house ghost. At least.
For sure. He's, I think he is, like, without, like, bar none, the prime contender to win. Like, I think it's going to be like him, probably Hannah, and then maybe Tiffany. I think those are probably going to be the 3 that people end up.
But then that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think those are probably going to be like the top 3. And then I do think that DX ultimately does win. But that's everything went down on Wednesday. Let's get into Thursday here, where we see Xavier's taking a lot of credit for this nomination. He feels like this was his doing. He kind of got into SB's ear, and I think it was more Kyland's doing, but I do agree that Xavier is a big reason why this actually worked out, especially considering that, Christian was on his original team, and this is kind of like, and he did say, if you remember, he said, I will target DX when the time does come, and now the time's here. So, like, I do think that he does get some credit there. Tiffany, we see, is very conflicted what they should really do this week. She feels that DX could do their dirty work and take out Alyssa and SB, and Hannah pitches this to Xavier, and he doesn't understand why they would want to keep him around when he's literally the biggest threat that isn't the cookout, and that eventually he will take shots at them with him constantly winning competitions. And again, we see the divide here. Like, you see how Tiffany and Hannah are very much looking at their individual games. And like, obviously for their games, it makes sense to keep DX around. But then you have Xavier and he's like, guys, we got to remember the mission here. We got to keep everyone together. And yeah, so I do agree that he's very much like the voice of reason here, because he's the one really trying to, you know, keep the cookout together and keep them focused on, you know, their sole mission, which is of course to get to the 6 together. So while he seems to get Azah back on board, we see that Tiffany is a little less convinced. She feels that they're going to need other connections in the house still, and she feels outnumbered by the cookout as they're not really letting her pitch to them why he should stay. And she doesn't feel that he's completely untouchable, with SB being the one to target him. So Azah and Tiffany do talk things over, agree that Kyland is the person everyone's going to want out first in the 6th, and knows that the guys are going to beat them at the end. And the 3 of them need to stick together in order to really make it. Tiffany says that though Xavier and Kyland want to take credit for everything, she is the one who came up with the jury plan. And I agree, like the Tiffany erasure here, like Tiffany's the reason why this jury plan has worked out. This is why they've been able to get to the 6 as a jury, because of her mastermind. Like, we each need a person and we need to focus on that person. And look at where they are now. Look at what they've been able to pull off. Like, give Tiffany some credit there. She absolutely like is the reason for that.
Yeah, agreed.
So basically, we then see Xavier's preparing for solitary confinement, which is not really what we're used to. It's very different. He's like locked up in the have-not room. He's got like a few like rations and things like that. He's got like a tent, it looked like he literally is sleeping in a tent.
Use the bathroom?
Yeah, no, and then he's got like a pot when he can use the bathroom. So this is not really like the solitary confinement of like this reminded me a lot of the Diamond Power of Veto that Christy got in Big Brother 21, where it's like, you know, it's not the Diamond Power of Veto, but they're calling it that. It's very similar to this, where it's like it in a way is solitary confinement, but it's not really what you're used to. I just don't understand why Big Brother likes to do this. Like, they like to bring back old like sort of competitions, old punishments, but they're not really done in the way we were used to, and that was a little disappointing to me. So yeah, needless to say, I was a little let down by the solitary confinement here, because what I'm used to is someone being in a locked room with it being like, you know, it's like padlocked and they have like 24 hours to like themselves. I don't remember them being locked in a have-not room with a fucking tent to sleep in. Like, that's not the solitary confinement that I'm used to. So I don't know. What you guys thought of this solitary confinement? Because I was pretty let down myself.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. But yeah, so yeah, I was a little bit of a letdown, but yeah.
It's basically Survivor Week for Xavier here for these next couple of days.
Much.
You know, he's gonna, if he does get targeted, he's like, I should have played Survivor. Damn, like I killed it.
Yeah,
it kind of was Survivor.
I came up with a.
I feel like Xavier would do Survivor.
I could see
he'd do well. I could definitely see, because I know Big Brother players have like gone on to Survivor like later on. I could see Xavier like being one of those people potentially.
Not gonna lie, it'd be kind of iconic if the BB23 cast all went on Survivor season together.
Oh my god!
Oh no,
that'd be funny.
It's Frenchie's Island. We're all just living in it. But
no, not that. Not Frenchie's Island. I mean,
solitary confinement gets
maybe
one
not.
BB
Maybe
buck.
not the pre. Well, maybe not the pre-jurors.
Didn't like.
Yeah, maybe not.
Gets one BB buck. That's it. That's my metric system.
Yeah, it's just one BB bucks to play in Survivor.
Because honestly, like, if the whole cast were on Survivor, everyone would just vote out the pre-jurors again.
Yeah, exactly. So as expected, while he's locked in there, Tiffany's really trying to like do some work. She's pitching to DX that he can probably get Hannah, Kyland, and Azah all to vote to keep him. And that 4 can be at the end if he makes it happen. So he pitches it to her, says that he knows if he stays, He isn't really long in the house, but he wants an equal playing field for everyone. He feels that this game will be better for her once it is. She seems to be down with this plan and could potentially shift her plans in terms of the vote. I thought we were about to get a vote flip. I really did. Like, I thought this was confirmation that, like, we are about to get some sort of crazy flip and it's going to change the direction of the season. But Ellie, let's talk about what happened, because that's not exactly how this went down.
Well,
no BB Bucks. 0 out of 5. Xavier punishment. Hated it.
I thought there would be a vote flip, but then they ended up not going with it. But I mean, it would have been like a shit show if the vote did flip, though. I feel like Claire would be very upset that Tiffany decided to flip on her.
Yeah.
At the eviction ceremony.
4-3. Sorry, my bad.
That's okay.
You can go. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm ashamed.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm ashamed. Don't cut Allie off. But yeah, no, you go.
All right. At the eviction ceremony, DX makes one of the most impressive eviction speeches in quite a bit, talking about inflection points within the game, and he feels like SB is playing a Nicole game. And if he will stay, he will make it his sole mission to take her out and be a shield to everyone. I've actually heard about that. Like, people are actually comparing Hannah's game to Nicole too.
Yeah, I don't see that. I don't see that at all. I will say though, when talking about like Big Brother speeches, like, this is what you need to fucking do. Don't just like shout out your family and thank CDS for like letting you on. Like, this is how you pitch. This is legitimately like what you should do when you're there. Like, tell people what you want to do. Tell people what you're gonna do if you stay. Like, this is one of the best eviction speeches I've heard in quite a bit. Like, to me, this was like on the level of like Kaser's last season, where it's like, you know, Kaser was the vet. He was kind of giving a speech that was like old Big Brother. This very much felt in line with that. It's like, this is what we used to get in terms of campaign speeches. So I was very impressed by everything he said here.
And more so impressed because I'm sorry, but I'm more so impressed because like he's not a fan. Like, he didn't watch old school Big Brother. Like, that's like a template. Yeah. And playing much in line with that. Like, no, this is just genuinely what he thinks is in his best interest to sell and to project to the cast. And I was thoroughly ready after this speech. Oh yeah. He didn't rap for us, which stank, but pretty solid speech. I give it a BB Bucks, some $75. 4 out of 5. Pretty solid. Pretty good. It was a very good speech.
I love how our rating system is BB Bucks now. I love that.
Okay, so 100's 5 out of 5. 75's 4 out of 5. 50's 3 out of 5. 25's 2. One BB Buck is 1, and then again is 0. That's our method.
All right. That's how it works. We got it all figured out. I really thought, like you said, this would set things in motion for a vote flip. I really thought it was going to happen here.
Yeah. After a lot of contemplation and a possible flip, unfortunately, it's not enough, and DX is voted out by a vote of 5-2, with the 2 being Hannah and Kyland.
Yeah, I mean, it was so close. Like, literally, if Tiffany and Azah had voted had voted to keep him, like, he would still be there. And I kind of wish that they did. I think they really could have, like, pulled something off here. And I was a little bit disappointed that they kept Claire in, just because, like, Claire is not really playing as good as of a game as DX is right now. Like, I think he's playing a really strong game, and I wanted to see him, like, stick around, you know?
Claire's smart. She's just playing more like...
Oh, yeah.
She's literally just being Tiffany's puppet.
Yeah, literally, that's her game. Like, she just agrees to what Tiffany tells her to do. I do want to say, we got to talk about Xavier coming out of solitary confinement, because, like, what the fuck was going on with, like, that afro he was wearing and things like that? Like, what happened in those 24 hours? Like,
he grew out his hair.
That was so good. I was so confused. I was like, Yeah, he turned into like fucking some like guy in like the 70s. Yeah.
It was
That's
so
what Kyland
funny
was before he got
and random.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it.
But regarding the vote and the way they broke down, apparently the cookout was like, we do not want Derek X to leave on a unanimous vote. Obviously, Hannah wanted to do it, and Kyland apparently was jumped onto this plan for the sake of jury management, which is great because considering what the first juror is, you know.
Oh yeah,
his chances of getting there.
He's gonna need it. He's gonna need it.
He's gonna need it.
He's going to need it.
He does.
Because he really set the tone from Brent. That's a whole other story. But
yeah, he did. He did.
This is such a tragic week. Like I said earlier, Jackson. This is actually this was his winner pick. This is the first pick overall, and I really love this guy. Like we picked him over like pretty much any member of the cookout. We ended up like it was like 3 people in a row from the cookout. But before all of them, Derek X, he was solid on thinking that Derek X was going to play a great game, in which he did. But like now we're at a point where not only do I think the cookout steamrolls, but at the point where I don't think a non-cookout member can win, because Derek, I think Derek X could have, if not fared a good shot, I think beats anybody in the game left other than maybe Tiffany. Like if he got to the, like, how do you not respect this dude's game? Like all the competitions that he's won, how well he's endeared himself to the house, how well he was like, despite winning 2 comps at the beginning of the season, sort of started to integrate himself, get back to the good graces of other people in the game, especially for someone who's not a fan, who didn't know the game beforehand. He could have won if he somehow got there. Granted, week 7 is so far out from that being explored and being foreseen.
So yeah, there's only like there's still 9 people in the house. Yeah,
exactly. But like you're telling me Claire's gonna win? You're telling me Alyssa's gonna win? You're telling me Sarah Beth's gonna win if they got to the end?
Especially after this week, SB is not winning.
Definitely not winning. She just shot herself in the foot. She really just And she had one option. Like yes, Claire's already up on the block. A cookout member's not gonna go up. But you're telling me you only have 2 people not from this massive alliance you could possibly put up. If Claire or Derek X just pulled their end into this conversation, if they genuinely think that group was a thing, if they were really able to put the finger on the pulse of the game, if you will.
Not anymore, Seb. Not anymore. I gotta say.
Letting Alyssa in this conversation.
I mean, she is, but
Sarah Beth is on his draft. But I'm sorry to say, Seb.
She's a flop.
This wasn't a good week for
I mean, she is a queen. She just made a really bad.
Queen this week. Yeah.
She was a queen pre-jury. She's not a queen jury.
She she decided to be a peasant.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
No, her words, not mine.
She just decided to do the easy move and let the get outplayed.
Yeah, that's exactly what she did.
I will give her credit though. Preseason, Seb was really high on her, and me and Jackson, no way in hell Sarah Beth's gonna do anything in this game, and that she's not gonna perform well. And she definitely impressed me with how long she was able to make it, how well she was able to connect with people. But like, this week is the setup for her, going to be the setup for her downfall. I feel she just got rid of and then I get it, and I look back at Derek X's choice to backdoor Christian. And considering Christian was targeting him and he was in serious contention to backdoor him the week that he was HOH, I didn't agree with that move either. I thought they should have lined up together, and hers plea to Derek X to keep him off the block.
Yeah.
I am your shield. We could divide and conquer this house. They shouldn't have done that.
Christian is very nice, but he probably would have made the jury phase a bit boring.
He could have, but I do think that in hindsight, it is one of those things where it's at the time, I think he thought it was a good move, but I do think in hindsight, Christian would have been good. So DX is someone that's going to shield him, someone that's going to fight for him, someone that's going to win comps when he needs him to. So I do agree that he probably would have made things a little bit more boring, but
that means the cookout wouldn't have.
His game, he probably should have kept him around.
He would have went for the cookout though.
He would have.
So I don't know. I don't know how you see how that week happens. Seeing the setup for Derek X to potentially go home this week, and seeing that there's repercussions obviously for Derek X as he targeted this very prolific player in the pre-jury, someone who was very great physically, won majority of the competitions he was eligible, he even participated in. He won the first he won the first not high rollers. It was before the high rollers. He won the
he won the first veto. He won the first veto.
No. But Derek X won the first veto. Christian won the first.
Oh yeah. Christian won the what the hell was it called? I forgot.
You get what I'm saying though. It was casino or
wild card. He won the wild card. There you go.
The wild card competition. Yeah, he won the wild card. And like, how do you see that happen and see the setup for this round and not feel like there's going to be some repercussions with like Derek X? Like clearly Derek X messed up by targeting Christian. Christian messed up by wanting to target DX and making that the move that makes sense for DX in the moment. And so like, I don't get why Sarah Beth feels as though that taking a shot at this target so early on is bad for a game, especially since she's not playing with Hannah. And she actually said, like, I want to make an effort with Hannah. I think we're both playing very similar games. And honestly, I think they're operating on a similar wavelength with how they believe in the philosophy of the game, how they're approaching it, with their positioning, and how they go about campaigning or advocating for certain moves to be made. And especially as somebody who I think very much caught up to what Hannah was doing in the way that she was conducting herself, the way that she was managing her relationships in the game. I thought that was going to be something that could have been mended with Derek X as well, by extension. And like, you targeting DX gains you the ire of the people that you put up on the block, the people whom you thought you weren't close enough with, or the people that would go in the DR thinking, I don't feel good with this person, I think she's going to put me up. That just sits here and tells me that most of this cast doesn't feel close with you. Like, this is not the good move for you. You'd want to keep DX in your good graces and maybe convince him that keeping you around is good for his game. But we'll in conversation with Kely, we'll discuss this in full details in the coming week. Since it's almost approaching time where I have to actually have to go at 7. I have a class I need to take care of. But thank you guys so much for having me on this podcast. It's been a tremendous honor being here. It's been amazing. Please continue to watch it. If you're watching this episode, if you were able to catch up, if you were able to find time to watch this episode, see my beautiful face. I implore you to continue to watch subsequent episodes. These guys know what the hell they're talking about with their BB coverage. I look forward to seeing the trajectory of the rest of this game. I'm winning my draft with my friends. Seb. Your win, it sucks. Derek F stinks, but Xavier's better. But
he really does. He really does. All right. You have a good night, Jacob. It was great having you on.
Good night. We love you.
Love you too.
Yes.
And you're
okay. I guess it's just us for the rest of this.
I was going to say that he's always welcome on here.
Yes, so maybe he will definitely be back at some point.
We can always get him for the following week or the finale or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then we'll just finish off this. In his interview, he talks about how close he was to winning the HOH. He says he has a lot of regret for this week and was thinking too much about the long term and not how much in danger he was for the short term. He thinks America...
Which I'd agree. That was definitely like a big flaw.
He thanks America. He thanks America because it said thanks on the notes. It's okay. He thanks America for voting for him. She brings up him and Hannah, and he says to expect the unexpected with them potentially dating outside of the house, which that would be really cute.
Julie's reaction to that was so funny, where she's like, my God, someone else says that? It's not just me? What? She was like so shocked. Like,
that was really funny.
Yeah. As far as him and Hannah go, like I've said it before, I very much do see them like probably getting together like the end of the season, especially with the way things have played out. I think that could definitely end up being a possibility, but just sucks to.
I don't really know about Christian and Alyssa because apparently she doesn't really like him. So I feel like I don't know. I feel like she would get. I can honestly see her and like maybe Xavier.
Yeah, I could see that. I do see the two of them being like there's always like that couple of the season where you're like, are they going to break up before Thanksgiving? I see that being DX and Hannah. So
yeah, we'll
see. We'll see. Yeah,
they're so cute though. Before tonight, the house guests were given a series of NFTs to memorize throughout the night. This is obviously the subject for this week's HOH. And Julie also tells them during this comp they will be able to purchase more BB bucks via envelopes, and they will discreetly open, which range from an extra 50 to 100. And it
Which
comes
I was
down
confused. I did not remember her saying that like there's going to be other ways to earn BB bucks. But I'm like, all right. I mean, I guess we're not doing all the work.
Yeah. It comes down to Tiffany, Hannah, and Alyssa, and after throwing a bunch of them, Tiffany finally crushes this comp and becomes the new HOH. Yay!
When I tell y'all, I screamed when this happened. Allie can attest. I was literally on call and I freaked out when because I wanted to see who won HOH, and when Tiffany did, I was like, "Fuck yes!" Because I've been saying, on a couple episodes that like Tiffany is deliberately throwing comps. Like she's doing this because she doesn't want to put a target on her back. But when the time comes, she's going to come in hot, and look at her just single-handedly winning this HOH, not needing any help. She fucking dominated this comp. Obviously, it's kind of short-lived based on what happened. We'll get into that with the week, but it was really good to see Tiffany finally get this win because she absolutely deserved it. I was hoping that she would win a comp at some point, and I'm very happy to see that she definitely ended up winning this one. So it was a really good way
happy for her
to start off next week.
Yeah, I'm really excited for. Obviously, we know what happens, but we can't talk about it until the episodes.
No.
But I'm excited to talk about this week, and I'm excited for everything.
Yes, definitely. Very excited to see how everything plays out. But other than that, that's it for everything that went down this week. Of course, as always, we do want to thank our guest in Jacob Adorno. I do not know his Twitter, but you guys can follow him on Jacob Adorno on Facebook. So look for him over there. He is on prod for a couple games, Big Brother Insanity, Tri-State that's coming up as well. He's on prod for both of those. So look for him in those games if that interests you. But yeah, that's really it.
Also, of course, support Kevin and Jacob in Experiment.
Yes, definitely. It's nearing its end. We're literally at Final Four, but it is very much nearing its end tonight. Also look forward to other coverage, other shows. September is going to be crazy. September is going to be insane. There's a lot of stuff we're going to be covering. In addition to Big Brother, Survivor, The Circle, Ascendance Live, a lot of shit to talk about in September. Yeah. So we're going to be really active.
Yeah, how many episodes of Ascendance are there going to be?
I don't know. Ask Matthew Papa.
I'm excited though. So
I honestly don't have the answer to that question. If I had to assume, probably like 10 to 13, because that's most like reality shows, but I don't know. Yeah. I know it's going to be weekly. I know that it's one a week, similar to Survivor, and then The Circle is probably going to be 4 a week. So yeah, we're going to be very busy in September. There's rarely going to be a day where we're not podcasting.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, definitely.
The Circle, it's only like a couple weeks or a few weeks, so that one won't be too long. Survivor is only 1 episode a week, really, so that one will be easy. But yeah, I'm excited for everything.
But anyways, guys, that's it for this episode of A Conversation with Kely. As always, comment down below. Let us know what you guys thought of this week of Big Brother. We always love to hear your thoughts on that. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you guys in our next video. I'm hungry, so I'm going to go eat dinner, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye. Well, not for my dinner. I'll see you guys in the next video.